The Galactic Council chamber floated in the void between stars, a crystalline structure that had witnessed 10,000 years of diplomatic discourse. Today, its halls echoed with the familiar hum of translated languages as representatives from 300 species debated matters of trade, territorial disputes, and technological exchange. Earth's ambassador, Dr. Sarah Chan, sat in her designated alcove, positioned, as always, in the outermost ring of the chamber. The placement was deliberate, a subtle architectural reminder of humanity's status in galactic affairs. For 73 years, since Earth's admission to the Council, humans had occupied this peripheral space. And for 73 years, they had said nothing. The Vraxian delegate, his crystalline form refracting the chamber's ambient light into rainbow patterns, addressed the assembly. We move to Resolution 847, the redistribution of Kepler sector mining rights. As the primary claimants, the Vraxian Commonwealth proposes. The Vraxian proposal is acknowledged, interrupted High Chancellor Zorvath, his 6 eyes blinking in sequence. Are there any objections? Silence. Are there any additional claims to these territories? More silence, except from the far corner, where a small, almost imperceptible sound emerged. A clearing of a throat. Every translator in the chamber flickered. Hundreds of alien eyes, optical sensors, and consciousness nodes turned toward the human alcove. Dr. Chen had stood. The floor recognizes. Earth? Chancellor Zorvath's tone carried unmistakable surprise. In 7 decades, Earth had never once requested to speak. Thank you, Chancellor, Sarah said, her voice steady despite the weight of galactic attention. Humanity wishes to register a formal objection to Resolution 847. A ripple of confusion passed through the chamber. The Vraxian delegate's crystalline structure darkened. On what grounds? Earth has no claim to the Kepler sector. Your species barely ventures beyond your own solar system. Sarah's expression remained neutral. Our objection is not based on territorial claim. It concerns procedural fairness. The Kepler sector contains 17 pre-spaceflight civilizations. Resolution 847 makes no mention of their rights or protection. Pre-spaceflight species have no rights under Council law, Zorvath replied, his tone dismissive. This is established precedent. They are not members. They cannot object. Cannot, or are not allowed to. Sarah countered. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of translated protests. The Drakini representative, a being of living flame contained within a force field, flared brighter. This is outrageous. Earth speaks for the first time in decades to question the very foundation of Council authority? Not question, Sarah corrected. Clarify. My species has spent 73 years observing. We've watched the Council enforce laws, negotiate treaties, and redistribute resources. We've learned your protocols, studied your histories, and analyzed every decision made in this chamber. How fascinating, the Vraxian delegate said, sarcasm dripping through the translation. The primitive species has been taking notes. And now what? You'll lecture us on governance? The chamber filled with sounds that translation software rendered as laughter. Sarah didn't smile. She didn't frown. She simply pressed a control on her datapad. The chamber's central display activated, projecting a 3-dimensional star map. Red markers appeared across hundreds of systems. These are the 17 civilizations in the Kepler sector, Sarah began. What you may not know is that my species has been monitoring them. We've also been monitoring the 73 other pre-spaceflight civilizations currently existing within Council-claimed territories. The laughter stopped. In the past century, 42 of these civilizations have gone extinct. Not through natural disaster. Not through their own conflicts. Through resource extraction operations conducted by Council members in their systems. Operations conducted without their knowledge or consent. Chancellor Zorvath's mandibles clicked, a sign of irritation. This is irrelevant too. It's entirely relevant, Sarah interrupted, and the audacity of cutting off the High Chancellor sent a shock through the assembly. Because humanity is invoking Article 3 of the Council Charter, the right of intervention for crimes against sentience. The chamber fell silent. Article 3 was ancient, carved into the Council's founding documents but never once invoked. It granted any member species the right to challenge the Council itself if they could prove systematic violations of sentient rights. "You cannot be serious," Zorvath said quietly. Article 3 requires proof of genocide. It requires evidence of systematic. Which we have. Sarah's voice cut through the chamber like a blade. 73 years of evidence. Every mining operation. Every resource extraction. Every civilization disrupted, displaced, or destroyed. We've documented all of it. The display shifted, showing streams of data, surveillance footage, communication intercepts. Years of meticulous human observation laid bare. Earth stayed silent, Sarah continued, because we were watching. Learning. Understanding exactly how this council operates. And now we've seen enough. The Vraxian delegates' form flickered with agitation. This is blackmail. You think you can threaten the council with. Not threats. Justice. Sarah's eyes swept across the chamber. Article 3 grants us the right to call for a full council investigation. If our evidence is validated, every member species involved in these operations will face sanctions. Trade embargoes. Technology restrictions. Expulsion. "You're bluffing," Zorvath said, but uncertainty crept into his voice. "Earth doesn't have the military strength to enforce. We don't need military strength. We need the truth." Sarah smiled for the first time. "And we have the backing of the 43 species who weren't involved in these operations. We contacted them before this session. They've agreed to support our motion." A wave of shocked communication rippled through the chamber. Nearly half the council, suddenly aligned with humanity. Chancellor Zorvath's 6 eyes fixed on Sarah with newfound respect and something else. Wariness. "What does Earth want?" he asked quietly. Restructuring. Protection protocols for pre-spaceflight civilizations. Independent oversight of resource operations. And voting rights for developing species, a voice before they're allowed into this chamber, not after they've been exploited. "That would change everything," the Drakini representative whispered. "Yes," Sarah agreed. "It would. Consider this our formal declaration: Earth is no longer silent. And we will not accept a galaxy built on the graves of those too primitive to defend themselves." The chamber remained silent as Chancellor Zorvath processed the magnitude of what had just occurred. 73 years of human patience had culminated in this single, devastating moment. Finally, Zorvath spoke. "The Council will consider Earth's proposal." Sarah nodded. "We thought you might. Resolution 847 is hereby suspended pending investigation." "And Chancellor," she paused, "humanity appreciates the Council's cooperation." As the session adjourned in chaos, Sarah Chen gathered her materials. Earth had stayed silent for 7 decades. But silence, she reflected, was just another form of observation. And now, the galaxy would learn what humanity had observed.